Hey everybody, this is Mike with the One Stop Co-op Shop, and I'm doing something a little bit different for this video. I've gotten a bunch of mystery escape room type of games for review recently, and since these are all one-off experiences, so there's less to say in a review of them, I thought I'd just do a kind of top 5 discussion of all of them in one video. And this will be sort of in ranked order, but I should be clear that all 5 of these I enjoyed at least a little bit, so none of them are like straight up bad. And this is all, of course, going to be based on my personal preferences for escape rooms, which might not match yours at all. So at number 5, we've got Wizcape Academy from Key Enigma. And this is the cheapest game on the list. It comes with a bunch of like little manipulatives and items to play around with for the riddles. But the majority of the game is played through an online website that you do have to log into to access, so here you can kind of see what the interface looks like. And both for this one and the later Key Enigma game, basically you're kind of like chatting with people as they go through the mystery with you, and you can even ask them for help at any time, so the hint system is integrated in there. And talking about this first one, it was okay. The riddles weren't too tough, which is fine for me. I usually don't like things that are really challenging. There were some of the puzzles that were a little bit fiddly for manipulatives, like you got to like fill these potions with these shapes, but like they're not quite as see-through as I would like, so it was kind of a bit more challenging. And some of the items that seem like they might be the coolest are only used for like 10 seconds, so they aren't as neat as they seem. But especially for playing with kids, like I played this with my 10-year-old son, this one was pretty fun. The theme is very accessible, like the idea of joining a wizard academy. The riddles weren't too challenging. For somebody doing more serious riddling or with an older crowd, I don't think this one would be too much of a hit. Next at number 4 is Mortum Medieval Detective, which is from Arcane Wonders and is certainly like the most board game-ish of any of these. You have 3 different quests to go through, each controlled by this chunky deck of cards, although don't let it fool you because about a quarter of them are just note cards you don't need to use. And this one is very reminiscent of Portal Games' Detective series. So you have characters, but all that really matters about them is them giving you these icons. And you're moving around maps, tracking time as you do. So everything you do, everything you investigate is going to take away some of your time and bring you closer to the end of the investigation. Now, the core difference between this and Detective is that the tokens, instead of just using them to like flip cards and unlock them, instead you actually put them on locations. And it's like you're searching that location or raiding that location. That can change whether that location is even available to you anymore. Like you've beaten up everybody at the stable, so they're not going to talk to you anymore. So that is pretty cool, both thematically and mechanically. But besides that, not to belabor the point too much, but this is very much like Detective, except it's a medieval setting and you're like kind of bad guys. You're thieves and brigands in like a secret society, basically. So you like beat people up, you tie them up. If that kind of theme floats your boat, you might enjoy this one a bunch. But it shares some of my problems with the Detective series where like, yes, you're making tough choices of where to go, but sometimes you'll just go somewhere that gives you nothing, and then you'll kind of feel like you either got forced to finish the case and find out the answers without being ready, or you might just like want to play again, even though there's not much new to see. So there can be frustration. Same thing with like this cool mechanic of searching or surveilling or raiding places. Sometimes you use these actions and nothing really happens. I kind of wish more of them were meaningful. But yeah, if you like Detective, I think this one is definitely a recommendation. I just don't love that series as much, but for like a different theme on Detective, a very different type of like group that you're playing as, and kind of a nice riff on the mechanics, I think it does really well. All right, ranked number 3 is something a bit different. This is Exit the Game, the Advent Calendar, the Hunt for the Golden Book. And as you can imagine from an Advent calendar, you've got doors, except in this case, sorry, we've opened a bunch of them. You don't know what order you're going to open them in. So it's not like you're going 1 through 24, counting down the days. Instead, each door is going to, if you solve the riddle correctly, send you to another door. And inside each one, without spoiling anything, there's going to be little manipulatives. This is an exit game, so for better or worse, it means you'll be cutting things up and you can't really transfer it on to somebody else. Whereas all the rest of these with like minor cutting and things should be reusable for another group. So this is like the only one you can't really pass on. And they try to have a little story that goes along with like you helping Santa Claus. I don't know. I found it mediocrely written with some like translation errors. It's fine. It's certainly not what I'm coming to play the game for. They also have a help book though with different levels of clues and hints. I found that very useful. And if you like Exit, I think you'll enjoy this one a lot. Each of the riddles took us about, I don't know, 5 to 10 minutes. It was family friendly, so we were able to like get the kids involved, especially when it was a manipulative thing and they could like cut things out or move things around. It wasn't super challenging when we got stumped. The hints were there to help us. But yeah, this is a pretty good time. I guess, if you add it all together, 24 riddles times 5 to 10 minutes, you're looking at 2 to 4 hours of gameplay, and we wouldn't do one a day. We'd usually do 2 or 3 just because it was kind of fun. Now, one thing that annoyed me is that it does have that thing where everything has to become a 3-digit number, so it feels sometimes like the riddles become a bit samey, especially if you've played like other exit games. But yeah, it was a good time. I enjoyed this one, and again, it was very family friendly, and it was fun to get like the whole kids and wife involved. So there you go. A pretty good one, the Exit Advent Calendar. All right, now we get to my second favorite of the 5, which is also from Key Enigma, but I like this one a lot more than Wizcape Academy. So first, a cool thing for this one is value-wise, you get 4 different adventures, each with their own envelope and little collection of knickknacks to play around with. But these are a nicer quality than the ones in Wizcape, and yeah, they like look kind of cool, and they're like realistic. This is something that I prefer. You'll see that in my favorite game as well. Like it makes it feel like things you would actually use. But like in Wizcape, a ton of your time is going to be spent in the like website that you got to log into. Now, a cool thing, at least for me with this one, is that you go to websites and you kind of like intelligently troll around the internet, and they made fake websites to like have you do stuff. That totally won't appeal to some gamers, but I found it kind of like increased the immersion of the experience, made me solving things sound more clever, and it was just a more professionally done thing than the Wizcape one. And again, with 4 like hour to 90-minute parts to the case in a package that I think this one is like $50, this is probably the best deal out of any of the ones I covered on this video. So pretty solid experience. Check this one out. I definitely say go for this one before the Wizcape one, unless you just really need the kid experience, because I think this one is much better. And the last one in the video, my favorite of the bunch, is Hunt a Killer, Body on the Boardwalk. I've never done Hunt a Killer before, and I think they have like different things. I think they have like a subscription service, but this is just a one-off experience. I think it's like $20, nice deal. And the big difference with this one is that all the rest are trying to like tell you a story, and you're going through like bit by bit and solving different like riddles and mysteries and all of that. But this one just says, nope, here's everything. Figure out what happened. Solve the murder. And the like quality of the things like that you're interacting with is just exceptional. Again, I think this is $20. Now, for a one-time escape room, that's pretty standard, but the quality of like the manipulatives that you're dealing with is excellent. But the best thing for me is that everything seems realistic, like it's stuff you would actually find. So the immersion was the best out of any of the 5. And the case was engaging. We felt super clever. My wife and I did this. Now, I will say, full disclosure, this has a theme of like solving a mystery at a carnival. And she's writing a novel at a carnival right now. So we were kind of primed to be really into this one. So maybe that colored my enjoyment. But we had a total blast solving it. Again, just the quality of the writing, the quality of the manipulatives, the like immersion and realism of solving the case. This one was a slam dunk for us. So there you go, 5 mystery escape room games in, I don't know, 5 minutes or however long this took me to edit. Hope you enjoyed that. Hope you saw something that floats your boat. And for now, good gaming, and I'll see you at the next stop.